Welcome back to Rustaholic. I'm Patrick, and today we're going to be working on my 1969 Pontiac Catalina station wagon. And I want to give you guys a little bit of backstory on this. I originally bought the car back in 2006, and we were still living in San Diego at the time. And I was working as a construction superintendent, and all of my colleagues had these big, like, lifted trucks and everything. And I wanted something different, you know? So I went searching, and I think I pulled this out of Craigslist. I think it came out of somewhere, Indiana, maybe somewhere in that region. But I just fell in love with the car, and honestly, it was the right price, you know? And so we got it back, and the first thing we did is rebuild the 400 that's in it. So the 400 that's in it is actually completely rebuilt, and honestly, I don't have many miles on it, probably less than 1,000 or 2,000 miles on it, because we only drove it for a short time while we were in San Diego, just like back and forth to the beach, things of that nature, before we moved to Florida, where we're at today, and I immediately started tearing it down. So it has been in some form of disarray probably for the last 20 years, almost 20 years. Now, I did try to, I did work on it for a few years, and I got it all the way to paint. If you see episode 1, it really shows, like, it looked pretty nice, and it was ready, but I had just built the shop. I had never painted anything in my life, and I just wasn't ready, and I was just, you know, I also just became a new dad around that point, and, you know, it just kind of took a back seat. And eventually other things popped up, you know how it goes, and it ended up sitting in the backyard for about 8 years. So we did pull it out of the yard, and we did try to get this going on this about 2.5 years ago. We fixed the gas tank leaks, which got resolved. We got some tires put on it, and we got a new carburetor for it as well. So we got it, like, mechanically running and driving under its own power, which is where it's at today. But we didn't get to dive into the main aesthetics of it, and that is what I'm going to do today. And I'm doing this today. I'm not even gonna open the inside, which is its own, like, bag. But for me, to be able to actually pass this car to a new person, it has to be at least one color. You know what I mean? And I have to fix the neglect that I created. I know. My biggest fear is if I just put the parts back together and just cleaned it up and sold it as is, someone's just gonna rip this drivetrain out and they're gonna crush this car. Because, I mean, honestly, in the way that it is, you know, not many people are gonna put the time into it to get this thing straightened up. But I feel obligated, and I want to make this thing at least have one more shot at a run. So that's the goal. And to make sure that we don't get sidetracked this time, I'm going right for the roof. So let me show you. We're gonna dig into the roof. If I open up the roof, there's no going back. I have to seal it, I have to finish it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna open up the roof, and we're gonna fix that neglect that I created. So let me get you a little bit closer. We'll do a quick little walk around of the car, show you real close the items that we're looking at, and yeah, we'll get started. So here we are at the front of the car, and there is some pretty bad stuff that we're gonna have to take a look at. But for the most part, it's really the top of the car that took the most real damage. The sides of the car still look pretty good. Not a lot coming through there, but the roof itself really has a lot of this stuff. It's I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's bubbling up. And we're just gonna dig into that and get all that stuff taken out. So the roof is really the main issue here. And I did restore this roof, or let's just say remediate this roof 20 years ago, but it's time to give it another go ahead. The sides of the car are actually in pretty good shape. I think if I remember correctly, there was some damage around the rear wheels, around the wheel wells that I massaged and sculpted out of mud and stuff, but they look pretty good, and they seem to be holding up. And then from the belt line up, I think it's pretty solid. This is my plan right here. I got my my lift table, and I'm like, you know what? This is gonna work great. I got it stabilized, piece of wood down there. All the wheels are locked, but I'm gonna be able to roll this around the car so I can lift, be able to reach what we need to do on the roof. So that's the plan for that. Come back around the car here. You can kind of see from what, oh, that's an issue. There's a crack right there. We're gonna have to fix that. Here's another item of junk that needs to get resolved. But you can kind of see that what I was going for, I painted and sanded down all the chrome and trim and bumpers and everything as well. It used to have Pontiac across the back, which I've removed as well. So I was going for a more like modern, I don't know, just monocolor style here in the end. So we'll see if we end up getting back to actual paint. You guys decide if you want me to actually paint this thing or we just get it sealed up and call it a day. But yeah, the sides are pretty good. It's really just the top and this hood. Oh, danger zone, danger. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is, I was able to clean the shop pretty good, but this is the one area I can't do anything about. What are you gonna do? So I think we're gonna be really aggressive on the top section here. Really aggressive. If we have to go all the way back down to metal for the hood, that's what we're gonna do, 100%. However, on the sides, I'm gonna be a little less aggressive, especially around the wheel wells and things of that nature. I don't wanna have to re-sculpt any of that. So that is the plan. So I'd love to say that we're gonna be able to just start a fancy 2-minute montage and this is all gonna be ready for paint. But we both know that's not a thing. This is gonna take me days. It's gonna take me weeks, probably. So we're gonna see how this plays out. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I'll do the time lapse, of course, and I'm gonna count the hours on this one. Let's see how long it takes to actually repair this roof and this hood. We'll see. Just a quick look here at the table. I've got it totally cleaned off. Everything that I didn't want to get completely sanded and dusted is removed, and I've added the new tools. So we're gonna be starting out with this guy. It's pretty aggressive, and whatever metal can live through this is allowed to stay. So we also got some slot discs, etc. We got various degrees of sandpaper and orbital sanders. And that's about it. We're just gonna hit this and see how flat we can get it. Really, we're not looking for perfection here. This is not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna be laser straight. It's going to be flat, and it's going to allow something to adhere to it. That's what we're going for. All right, let's get started. All right, the rough is done. And honestly, that only took about an hour. So not too shabby. Everything is flat. We are gonna get that dust and everything cleaned up, but I wanted to show you something interesting. Because of the vibration of the machine, it created this perfect circle of dust. I don't know why, but I brushed it off a couple times and it kept coming back. So I don't know, pretty cool. Anyway, and also in the front, I did do some of the front, and you can see here, Let's open it up. Yeah, the front's got issues, so, and got some issues there, have to fix that. On this side, looks like somebody filled it with a bunch of mud. So, probably gonna have to dig that out. Look, they even cut the old metal out and then filled it with mud. Who would do that? Remember, it always gets worse before it gets better. But this is good. Now it's flat. So we can move on to the next stage, which is 40 grit? 60 grit? What are we gonna do? I don't know. To be totally honest, I normally just go 60 grit and try to be aggressive. But I happen to have 40 grit, a whole pack. I think Grandma bought those for a project or something. But now I have them. So let's see what happens. I mean, this is why I like projects like this, is I can't possibly make them any worse. Yeah, that 40 grit was not aggressive enough. So I'm going back to flat. I found an old 120 grit flat. And really, I'm just trying to open this up a little bit. Give myself some space here. Then we'll go back to the paper. We're about halfway through it, maybe a little more, and this is our status. You can see how the holes just keep opening up bigger and bigger, and quite honestly, it might just grow to the whole roof. We will see, but we've got 3 hours in at this point. Not too bad. We're gonna take a break and come back in a bit. All right, back soon. All right, here we are at the end of round 2, which officially took 3 hours. And that was really just to open up all this area around all these individual items. And you can see here that I'm to the black portion, which is like the substrate right before the metal. So I didn't want to get all the way down the metal with that flap disc necessarily. But the next step is really going to even open up this even further, because probably everything that's black is needs to go all the way down to metal, and we'll feather this out. And most likely a lot of this is just going to go away also. progress is being made. A few more hours on the roof and a little bit up front here. Let me show you our current status here. So on that last round, I used 36 grit flat disc. No, it wasn't a flat disc, just a regular disc. And that can be sketchy with an angle grinder, but at the end of the day, we were trying to go all the way down the metal, and we got there. So yeah, the good news is that most of this stuff is just pitted. It's not really going all the way through. I did see like 1 or 2 random areas like this one that is going all the way through, but most of it is just this pitted stuff. So that's actually really great news. We're just gonna fill that up and encapsulate is really the word of the day. But we're not there yet. Still lots to do. So I think that was round 3. I think we did, let's check the stats. The stats so far, let's see here. Round 1 with the crazy tool. Where is that thing? I don't even know what that's called. This wheel, this crazy wheel. That took about an hour. That knocked off the rough stuff. Round 2 looks like it took about 3 hours, and that was with a 120, an old 120 flap disc, and being very, very careful not to let it dig or anything. But that worked out pretty well just to get that next layer off. And then around 3, I did dip into the 36 grit regular disc on the angle grinder. Now, if you're trying this, definitely be careful, because I was literally like holding it up off of the metal, because if you just let the full weight of the grinder down, it's gonna just dig right into the metal, and that's not what we want. We're just trying to get that paint off, and so you have to literally like lightly feather it over the top, which can be tiring, but to me it's still the fastest way. And I like this method. I know it's a couple different layers, and someone might say, why don't you just go straight to 36 grit? Honestly, I think it's risky, because if you got all those layers at once and you're trying to just dig it out, I think you're more prone to actually like be a little bit too aggressive and dig into the metal. And probably the second reason I do it this way in layers is because I can actually see the progress, which is really important for me to keep my motivation up. And so if I break it down into layers, and just within a few hours, I can get a pretty different look across the whole car. That lets me know that I can move forward. I have tried to do like an entire quarter panel at once, and you'll spend a whole day doing that, and then you'll look at the car and go, oh my gosh, I've got so much more to do, and it just doesn't feel like you're making the same progress. I don't know. That's just me, my take on it. But for the next thing we're gonna do, I think we're gonna jump into this hood. And I don't want to be as aggressive necessarily as there, because there's not really any pitting or holes. It's just this top layer is just flaking off. So if I can keep this black substrate on here, which is like 16-year-old poor 15, but if I can keep it, fine, it can stay. I did just take it down to bare metal in the front, but if we can get it here without it breaking up, it can stay. So I think I'm gonna start at 100 grit and see if that'll get this blue off and maintain the substrate. And if it will, I think that's what we're gonna go with. So let's give it a try now. This is working, and it's probably the right grit because I'm getting through it, but I'm not getting through the substrate, which is great, but it's slower than I like. This is where you get into trouble. I'm gonna drop the grit. It's gonna be a little bit more aggressive, and hopefully I can get away with it. We'll see. This is probably a mistake. Okay, quick update. Check it out. Yeah, I decided to just strip it. Because I was going to take a whole bunch of time, and then I still wasn't going to be sure about it. So this section right here, to strip it down, took me an hour. So we're looking at about 4 hours just for this hood. But at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it. So, not going to bore you with the rest of the sanding of that. Might do one of those. Look, it's all done magically. 1, 2, 3. Bam! It's done. Check it out. Whole hood back down to metal. For the second time, at least since I've owned it. And now we're down to metal on the roof as well. So the horizontals are almost done. And I think what I'm gonna do next is just take 80 grit real quick and kind of go over these sections here. So all of the roof will be done to 80 grit. Same with the horizontal here on the top of the fender. I'll go ahead and do that with 80 grit as well. And then the whole top horizontal sections should be pretty straight and ready for the next scene. So speaking of that, we could go a couple different directions. We could start the metal work and stuff on the hood and the roof, do mud and all that stuff and get that clean, or we could keep sanding and get the sides and everything to at least an 80 grit or where we want it, and then move on to metal stuff, which I think is what we're gonna do, but not in this episode. I think we're gonna wrap it up for this episode with just getting the horizontal sections down to metal or 80 grit, depending on where they're at and where we need it. And we're gonna call it. So I hope you guys are really enjoying this episode. It's a little bit different than what we've done before. It's not mechanical, but this is the easy stuff. You can't mess this up, especially with a car like this. So just get after it and enjoy it. And yeah, I know I do. I really enjoy the sanding part. I know, I'm weird, but I'm one of those people, I like being in my own head. So I can stay in my own head and daydream for hours, and I can sand at the exact same time. So for me, it's good times. So I think I'm just gonna continue with that and get all the rough stuff done as much as we can. But we'll continue that in the next episode. So hope you really enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help. And we'll see you guys next time.